So yeah, so we can
Go.
All right. So we can call the meeting to order at 7:05. And let's see. I believe I sent you guys meeting minutes for last time, right? To review?
That's correct. I saw them.
Okay, all right. Couldn't remember if I had or not. All right, cool. So then we're looking for a motion to approve the August 17th meeting minutes, or if you have any questions about them, let me know.
I will motion to approve the minutes. So noted.
Second.
Dumont,
Agree.
aye.
Sorry. O'Day, yes.
Nixon, yes.
Hanson, yes.
Well, yes.
Awesome. All right. So then on our agenda, so we've got general department updates. If you've got anything, Tim.
That's me. So the biggest thing is, so we're officially done with summer. Obviously, I think we were last time we met. So we closed the books on that. The final expenses, everything like that. And even though we lowballed the price with everything, we turned a profit about 24,000. So we did good. That covers, the thing that I was really looking at is that really covers our expense that we put out for the poles, for the lighting projects, plus some more. So I was happy to see that. So that will probably go up obviously next year as, we begin to improve and, look at this summer and make changes and whatnot. But I was super happy to see that. That includes camp, but also the various programs we had. So all the pre-K programs, the Ninja Warrior, Fast Sports, Best Soccer, everything like that. Did any of your guys go to the soccer the last week in between? No?
No.
Apparently it was the biggest camp they ever had in their history with us. They had 138 kids in that 1 week. So it was crazy to see it, but they pulled it off. So it was really good. We had to move them to 9/11 one day because it was so wet from the rain, but it worked out really, really well. But I was happy. I was happy to see that, obviously. And so books are closed on that. And then we are looking towards RAP. So RAP fall programs started up. We opened registration September 1st. We put everything out. So we're looking at just about a week. We've had 251 registrations. So I think we're carrying some momentum for the summer. So super happy to see that. A lot of our programs that we had to put on hold because of everything going on that we finally got to bring back. So pottery, martial arts, kind of the bigger, more interactive, more intensive programs, those came back and those are filling up, obviously. So pretty excited about that. Broadway fundamentals with Skyrise is back. They are the only program that's on hold right now with their big production. The school is evaluating theater productions. I have a follow-up meeting with the central office about it on Thursday to get their take on it. I'm not so much sure it's the performance piece. I think they're more worried about the audiences that Skyrise brings at Schrodier. So I think that's what's holding them up. But we'll find out a little more on Thursday, but fingers crossed, because I know Skyrise obviously wants to get back into the auditorium and we want those programs to go. We're starting our program back, bringing the kids. So we'll be transporting kids to So Studio, which is very much more conveniently located right off of Route 9 now. So that's going to be great. That's starting to fill up. Pottery at our building, we're going to bring back. That's kind of trickling in. So I thought that was going to fill up pretty quick, but it did not. We still got 4 or 5, so it's going to run just kind of lower numbers. Let's see. The skateboarding one that Jen, I know you're signed up for. That was kind of our new one that booked up. So we got 2 spots left on that. But overall, really really happy with it. You know, chess club came back strong. That filled up real quick. All the STEM stuff, the the right brain curriculum, business sharks, things of that nature to get the kids thinking. All that stuff filled up almost instantly. Slime obviously filled up, but it's really good. So I'm really happy. So we have about what's today? Today's Tuesday. We got 3 days left, so we'll do a push tomorrow in the office. Denise will help me with that, and then hopefully we'll get those last minuters. We'll close down everything officially on Friday. All the schools, I'm already talking to them about reserving space. Everyone's super excited that we're coming back in. All the sports are going to be outside, so you know, really the only things inside are the classroom-based programs that can mainly be done in the cafeterias or gyms if needed. So I have really no concern, and none of the principals really had any concern about us coming back. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the numbers, and we'll see how it goes.
And did your flyers go out in the virtual backpack?
I sent them to the schools, so I don't know. I'm gonna make a note of that. I know they should be in
I was actually
mailboxes
just
this
wondering
week
if
as
I
well,
had
but
seen it. Yeah.
virtual
Um,
backpacks.
I can double check and let you know if I don't see them there from last
Okay.
week.
That would be great. Yeah, I know I sent them to all the offices with our space requests as well. So,
Mhm.
but they should also, like I said, they should be in mailboxes as well in town this week. So you should be seeing those.
Okay.
I think it may be a little late, but I think they'll probably show up around Friday. So I'm not sure it'll be really beneficial, but at least they'll get the word out about the future dates for the upcoming sessions, so people can be aware. All right.
Cool.
So that's a wrap. We had summer nights. Summer nights was awesome. I'm not sure if any of you guys showed up, but it was packed. It was really, really busy. It was really cool. It spit for about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes at the start, even though it said it was going to be a beautiful day. So that was kind of a bummer, but people didn't care. People didn't leave. Everyone kind of huddled under trees. The only thing that kind of bugged me was the band refused to play after that little spit. So we kind of lost the money on that one because they didn't want to ruin their equipment. They ended up doing they were like a little traveling band. They kind of walked around the lawn, did acoustic sets for groups of people sitting together. So that was kind of cool. But I was a little disappointed that we didn't have live music through the whole thing. So I think we're going to reevaluate that, maybe go to a DJ format just to be safe, so we don't run into it again. But that was really the only kind of issue we had was with the band. But you know, every area that we usually had, you know, the rock wall or the bouncy houses or the pony rides, it was just packed with people. So food trucks did wonderfully. The lines never slowed down. It was just really good. PD was great. Fire was great. Emergency management team was awesome. And obviously Denise was the hero of it. She really always takes lead on that. So kudos to her. But it was really good. We're really happy with it. Fireworks were great. We only lost one dog in fireworks, but we found the dog later that night. But I got no complaints. We've had no real complaints at all from the public. A couple comments here and there that are basic, but we were happy with it. We were very, very happy with it. I don't know if you guys heard anything about it in the public.
I was out of town and getting texts from people who were there, saying how busy it was and it was good. So I got multiple texts.
Good.
So I was bummed to miss it, but it was our vacation.
It was one of those
We were
things that's
there.
kind
It was great.
Oh, you were? I didn't see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Way to say hi.
I think
Just hiding in the
I think I
corner.
saw you from across the way and you were like very focused. I think it was when the band, like it was raining and the band was
Okay.
kind of like not playing. So yeah, but we had fun. They didn't make
Good.
it to the fireworks because the kids are so little, but they
Yeah.
enjoyed the food and buying a $10 little, light thing. So they had a great time.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it was funny with the event. It was almost like summer camp. We took away all the bells and whistles, and it was almost better. You know, it was people in a big circle. They brought their own table and chairs, and they were just kind of hanging out, just talking to each other. So it was a lot of Yetis, It was interesting, but
A lot of coffee drinkers, huh?
yeah, a lot of coffee drinkers that late at night playing cornhole. It's interesting. So,
We know nothing.
it was cool. We were really happy with it. The next stop on that train of events is Heritage Day. We did get approval from Public Safety and Board of Health that we can do it. So we're excited about that. We're just trying to figure out logistics wise, because of the Main Street construction, we have no access onto that field anymore. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to get cars and food trucks and all this stuff on the field. We know that the Lions Club, I believe, whoever does the food truck fest, Rotary Club, excuse me,
Rotary.
is planning to do it on that field. So we're going to kind of keep our eye and see how they do it. But we do have the green light to do that. So I know Denise has been working on it. I will see her tomorrow for the first time in about 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll touch base on that. And we're getting a lot of phone calls about it. I got a lot of emails today about it. So hopefully by the end of the week, if not next week, we can get something public, and it's all ready to go online for registration for booths and stuff. So as long as we're comfortable with it where we're at right now, we'll put that out. But Heritage Day is a go. It'll probably look a little different from past years. I don't think we'll have bouncy houses, things like that. Probably be a little more spaced out with the booths, maybe a little less booths because of it. But the important thing is that it's going to go. Even the parade, we got the okay for the parade. So we got to talk about that as well in our office, and we'll see. But it is happening. So you can mark your calendars and wish away the rain.
Tim, can you remind me the process for a vendor to sign up and the costs associated with it?
Yeah, so we put it on our website, so southflorida.com. It's not active now, but it will be. So it'll be under, if you go to register for a program, it'll be under community events, Heritage Day. I'm looking at it now. It's just not public. Full description right there. And then it's $35 for a booth. You'll have the option to request up to two, so you can expand your spot. I know like the Boy Scouts and some other people always like to get two, but it'll be up there. But everything's online, so we'll keep it nice and easy. Obviously, people can come in with cash or check if they need to. We do have paper forms available in the office if needed, but just with everything going on, we always push everyone online right now. So. And then outside of that, it's Gobble Wobble, and the friends are talking about that for 5K already. Sponsorships are rolling in, which is wonderful. They're already picking out their shirts because you know how much they like their shirts. So they're fluorescent pink this year. And we got the okay for that. It's going to come down to what the check-in is going to look like and things like that. So I know they're starting to haul on that. So I'm sure once Heritage Day passes, we'll start putting all our eggs in that basket and helping them out, get the word. So it'll be good. They may house their registration with us, which would be wonderful for us because that'll get us a lot of new households, a lot more public, a lot of people in our system. Saves them a lot of money. It's my selling point to them. They don't have to pay fees to the vendors every time someone registers. All I ask for them is that 2% that covers our credit card fee, and then they would get everything else similar to what we did last year for the virtual one. But we'll see. A lot to be determined on that. So, but soonest is Heritage Day.
That's awesome.
And I think that's outside of the other stuff that's on the agenda. That's all I really got for that one.
Any other questions on that, or we're good?
I don't have any. It's exciting though to be
All right.
seeing everything come back.
Yeah.
I hope.
Absolutely.
All right. So then next up is updates on the different projects, the lighting and calendar.
The never ending projects.
Yes.
I'll start from the bottom. So I met with Art out at Calander with the conservation agent, Melissa, to tackle that never ending question of the stormwater permit. And we made our case how or the stormwater management plan that would potentially have to be filed. And then to get the permit to do the work, a ton more work than what we anticipated. It would cost us much more money, as everything does, to get that put together. We put everything, we gave Melissa our side of, kind of walked her through exactly what we were looking to do with this project and how we weren't going to be disturbing kind of the land and the area in which conservation, I think, had in their mind of what we were going to doing, or at least showing them what we were going to do versus what they thought we were going to do. And Jen, I know this was originally not even an issue, and then it became an issue, and then it went away, and then it came back.
Yeah.
The classic. But she sided with us. She had a better understanding with it, and then she went to her commission that week, gave her spiel on it, and then they agreed that we don't need one. So we're in the clear with that. So we can get moving on that. So that bid package should be done this week. I've been off since last Tuesday, so I haven't really touched base with Art. But it should be done. So we're going to get that schedule out. We'll get it posted online for the bid, and we will get rolling on that. Good news is a lot of the work that we're asking to be done with the phrase mowing, of kind of taking up the turf the way we want it done. There's a couple more companies that have thrown their hat in the ring of that service. So we should have some competition. It's not the usual one or two that we know about. I think there's about 5 or 6 now in the area that have the machinery to do it. So hopefully it's competitive. The price is kind of what Art's seeing. We should be fine with what we have budgeted, knock on wood, of course. But we should get rolling with that. So that was kind of the hurdle. We got over it, and now we can get going on that. So that was good. That was very good. Mooney is, I just get the sense we're right there. So National Grid and Eversource, we're talking to our contractor. So they're starting the chatter about getting the pole and getting the service going. They have the payment. The payment was received, cut, and sent. So that should be coming up any day now, getting that pole in. Again, I was on the golf course last Friday, and I got a call from National Grid, and I sent it over to Art and the contractor, and they said they're handling it. So I'll hopefully get an update on that when I'm in the office tomorrow, and hopefully hear good news on that. But it seems like we're nearing the end for that one, and I really hope so, just because fall ball is really getting underway for baseball. They started last week, and if we can get them lit so they can stay out there much longer as the days get shorter, obviously that's the goal. So hopefully we can get that going. And then last but not least, Neary. Neary's just being a headache. So there's been so much turnover at Island Lighting, which is the contractor that won the bid. It's just holding things up. And if it's not that, it's lead times. We just lost the project manager again on the project. We found out today. I got that email from Art. So we got reassigned to another guy. All we have left is trenching to go. We have the enclosure of the cabinet, and then we need the trench across the parking lot side and up the road to Parkerville. And then we play the same game as that we're playing at Mooney right now, but it's that last piece of trenching that has been just a headache to get done. The president of the company emailed us and said they're going to mobilize next week and bang it out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Getting really frustrated with them. So should be a simple thing to get us to that point where we need to deal with National Grid. So we will keep our fingers crossed on that. So I think I'll keep you guys updated on that through email, just obviously not a conversation, but kind of give you updates. I think that's starting to come into the public eye. I've gotten a couple of questions of, why is nothing happening, and just the pile of construction stuff there. So that is that's happening. So Mooney is nearing the finish line. Neary is held up, and we're plugging along. We're doing all we can to get that going with those ones. So that's what I got on those. Excited about Calander though. I'm happy we can get that going. So hopefully if we can get that done in the fall for growing, we'll rest it. spring, probably summer and fall too, to be safe, just because the ground over there, and bring that puppy back online. So that would be good. It's officially offline. Soccer's not using it at all. They weren't permitted for it. So we can get in, get out whenever we want to. So it'll be good.
So spring 2023 is probably what we're looking at.
That's the ideal. We could probably pull off fall if we get it done fall 22, but we'll see. It all depends how it grows, how thick it goes. So you should have saw it after that storm we had. Woo,
I can only imagine.
that was a duck pond. It served its purpose. So
How was the water coming off the hill?
exactly. It was the days after, and it was still pouring off. You could hear it from the parking lot. So it was nuts. Nuts.
We don't
So
get
there's
anything.
a CPC meeting this week. Should I get us on the agenda for whatever their next one is to officially kick this off with them?
Depends when is it going to be a monthly? So like, if we look in
well, they meet
October.
several times through the fall, but so I think like we need to just highlight what the tentative plan could look like to them, so they're aware.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
I can
then
give
we
them like a
check
schedule.
that box. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
And do they know basketball court's done? Have they been informed
I
on that?
will. I don't know if they know that, but I'll make sure that they know. I think it's
Okay.
Thursday night we're meeting. So, yeah.
What's the latest, Tim? I can't recall with the court. Is that all fixed now?
It's all fixed. They came back, they put they fixed the seam. That was the biggest concern. So you can see it if you drive by, you can see it. It's like a little darker stripe going down. So they did what we asked. That's all we can do. So
That's great.
And then like that low point, is that on us?
that's on us. Karen wants to
Okay.
wait a little longer just to get the full settle of it. And if it gets worse, then we'll address it. But if it
Okay.
doesn't get worse, it's not really worth ripping it up. So
Okay.
everything's paid. So it's kind of, we're not holding anything over that company anymore. So
Right.
that'll be on us. But truth be told, I mean, our tennis courts at Neary puddle every time as well. And those were brand new. It's the nature of the ground. We can't really tell what's going to happen.
Right.
So
Okay.
is what it is. That's my attitude, at least with it. It is what it is. I think it's beautiful. It's getting used every single day. So it's serving the purpose.
And then the one other one on that was DPW was going to like fix the
Yes.
edge, right?
I talked to Chris at Summer Nights about that. And he said
Okay.
it was on the agenda to get done the fall because they wanted the growing season. So
Okay.
that's definitely on their list of things to do, for sure.
Okay, cool.
They didn't forget about us.
Cool. All right.
Kristen, how about them soccer fields? And Don, have you noticed them? Woodward and Stradier and Petrie?
Grass is very thick at Woodward. I was just on there tonight.
Oh, I'm sure, with the weather. So
Yeah, but
9/11's great.
cutting
Yeah,
that
my
grass every day.
my daughter learned the downside to turf when they didn't cancel practice last
That's
Wednesday. I'm like,
Yeah.
nope.
we go.
Exactly.
And I assume the fields are getting cut prior to this weekend, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thursdays, I think are
okay.
the end of the week ones. So no, their new guy at DPW, Andrew, he's like a wizard. So the
cool.
little one on Woodward's just beautiful. Tridier track is stunning right now, and DePetrie's hard as a rock. So it's awesome. So it's really, really cool.
That's really great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Trottier yet. We'll see it this weekend, but Woodward's been working out for us.
Yeah, Tridier, I think he cuts every other day. So it's
Oh my gosh.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my children commented on DePetrie. Like they noticed it earlier this summer. So
good.
yeah, it
Take
looks
it.
really good. So
Take it. Nobody tried to park on it Summer Nights, so it was good.
How did the parking work
Nice.
out?
Say that again.
How did the parking work out?
It was good. We had a lot of people walked from the surrounding roads. We could just tell there was just like hordes of people out of nowhere coming down the driveways. Neary filled up first, obviously, and then we moved up the Trotter and that filled up. And I think it was just the side roads, general, Knox and all that stuff filled up. We didn't have anybody down at that auxiliary lot, that business park, so we're not sure if anybody used it. We were giving out directions for people who tried to get in. It was good. Parking was great.
It's
They
awesome.
spill out. It takes 2 hours to get them in and 2 minutes to get them out. So, it's good. So.
Awesome. Next on the list, we had the program coordinator position.
Yes, we have one.
Yeah.
So hopefully as of tomorrow. So we made an offer last Wednesday to Joseph Durant of Hudson. He lives in Hudson. Joe was one of the first gentlemen that we interviewed back at the beginning of the summer. I think I circulated his resume to you guys last time we were all in person. We brought him in two times after that. And with that final time, he sat down with Mark Purple, had an interview with him, and then took a tour with me around the town to see all the facilities, talk specifics of what we're doing everywhere. He had great questions. He's a young kid. He's got a degree from Springfield College in recreation. He worked while he was in Springfield. He worked at Enfield Recreation, Connecticut, right by Springfield, as well as Chicopee. He interned at both of those departments. And then when he wasn't at school, he worked for Hudson Recreation and worked there from a young, I think that was his first job when he could work, and he stayed with them up until recently, up until I think about a year ago. And so they were two of his references. I got the chance to speak with Steve and Dan over there. I know them well, so that was good. I think we had a little more rapport in that regard. And they were glowing reviews for each of them. Turns out that they actually suggested this job to him when it popped up because they thought he was going to be such a good fit. So that was cool to hear. But he was with them. He started as a counselor at one of their special needs camps, eventually worked his way up to be the coordinator for their sports leagues and field scheduler for the sports leagues, assistant supervisor at the camps. He worked in the office, answering phones, doing registration. So he did kind of front to back. And then outside of that, he worked at a senior living facility and did programming for seniors for about a year and a half. So he's well-rounded. I would say, he's obviously young still, but he has a really, really strong base. And he really drew upon that. And that was really evident in the interviews. So very excited. He was, we had two finalists. He was one of the two, and it wasn't I want to say I wanted to say that it was hard. We had really two really great finalists, but in the end, it came down to Joe and his experience and what we think he can do for us for the long term. So we made the offer on last Wednesday. Vanessa did. He accepted with all the terms that we put forward. We'll be turning some money back with the budget, with the salary line, as Dave, this will come across your desk with personnel soon, but so he'll be starting on the starting point of the grade. So that was good. So he'll have plenty of movement and plenty of space to grow in that. So he'll be appointed. We're on the schedule tomorrow night with the Board of Selectmen. And then he'll be getting his physical and paperwork in towards the end of the week. He's actually going to start on Monday. So it'll be a quick turnaround, but it'll be great. Monday starts all of our wraps. So he's going to hit the ground running. That's our plan. So I'm super excited. I'm excited to have someone to talk to in the office. But just to be a full team again with Denise. She's excited too. She's been with me the whole time, kind of going over everything from the start. So very excited to have Joe in. I think it's going to be a good fit, and we'll see how the fall goes, and he'll be with us the whole way as we go through Heritage Day, go through the gobble wobble, go through winter, and then obviously starting planning for spring and summer. So I'm excited.
Great.
And then hopefully maybe our next commission meeting he can come and say hi.
That'd be nice.
So.
That'd be awesome. All right. Next up, we have the capital plan. So that request that we need to turn in, I think it's just turn in tomorrow, right? Or the next day.
Thursday. right?
Thursday?
I think the
Gotcha.
9th.
Yep, the 9th, yes.
Do you want me to bring that up on the screen?
Sure, yep.
What am I doing? Oh my God, I haven't done this in so long. Safari. You see that?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think I took just like all of our notes from last time and just dropped it in here what we had. I don't know if there's like more we want to add or people have thought of, or if there's anything that we want to refine. But I think they're looking just for a general idea. It doesn't have to be exact, or at least the stuff further out doesn't have to be exact. The one I had questions on in my notes was, we talked about this like general field repair and maintenance account, like there's an account and you pull from it every year. I had in my notes, I had written down like 50K with a question, but I have no idea what that would actually look like, or if we put something in there where we're spending like 50K a year. Does that make sense? Is it gonna freak people out? Like, what is that? I wasn't sure how we best wanted to display that.
Trying to remember the conversation on that one, because what I recall when we were doing the facilities study with Art, at one point we actually went and sat down with their experts on field maintenance and what should be happening every year. And DPW is actually coming under budget in terms of what they recommend as maintenance, or what they had for average costs, but doing, you know, as much, if not more, than they should be doing. So, and that was a very important part of our
Yeah.
whole argument about why we needed to rest fields and et cetera, and the fact that Calander was a level 4 field versus level 3, if I remember correctly. And would that be more expensive? So my question is then, what is that additional budget for? I don't recall that part of the conversation.
So what does that line item reflect? So
Yeah.
it reflects the projection of every so often needing to take a field down and refresh it. So like we're doing with Calander, like we've done with the Petrie, something other than general maintenance.
Oh, so wasn't it every, I'm trying to think of Jen's pictures, where.
Right, I don't remember that's what it's meant to reflect, right? And so if you've got X number of fields that need to come down for major repairs on, Y basis, then, maybe it's, I don't know if it's 50 every year or 50 every other year, but it's really meant to we shouldn't have to necessarily surprise people with not want to say we're surprising people, but it feels like some people were, so the fields weren't taken care of for over 10 years, let's say, and now we've had to catch some of that up. This is meant to try to project, future,
Right.
Other than maintenance repairs, really.
So we should have numbers on that, because that's what we said, that, you do certain maintenance every year, which the DPW is doing, it's just because we hadn't done one of these more significant field repairs. That's why things fell behind. But now that we're doing what we should do, and if we rest fields, then I think we should have a number. And I don't remember if it was 50K, but it was part of our original plan when we went in for all the facilities repairs. So if, we can just do we could either go to Art or reference those materials, unless, Don, you're saying that is the number that we were carrying.
That was just a placeholder.
Okay.
I don't remember the number. I just, from my perspective, I wanted to make sure that we at least accounted for the concept.
Yeah.
So that we had it, it's something that we should have out there.
Yeah, and I think, like the work on the Petrie and the work on Calander, it's also all the drainage, right? Because I know like the Petrie is a bunch of drainage work also, and some of the other fields in town have drainage challenges that weren't addressed when they were built, right? So that's the other thought. Like in theory, we go through and clean up all these fields. So I think the question is, in 5 years or 6 years do we take DePietri offline and give it some extra care and
Yeah.
attention, and what would that cost? So I think
Yeah,
it was
that's
more about that, right?
And yep, and that was part of our original plan. So that's what I'm saying. I think we have, I can picture the folder in my head now. I think we might have, granted it's aged, so
Yep.
we should have a starting point, or we just ask Art if he, what he would put in there. Because you're right, in that year that's resting, the assumption is that we're doing a little bit more of an uplift to it.
Yeah, I think that was the ones that kind of stuck out with me. I think 50,000 is probably a lot, but I do believe, like Don just said, the concept of it I think is necessary.
Yeah.
So we're not fronting out a revolving account, because I know that argument will come up.
Okay.
I mean, I do think we're in a good place with, I think, the caliber of work DPW is able to do now, but I'm sure there'll be at some point something that's over their head, either just with time constraint, or if they actually, we need to dig up and clear out a drainage system or something like that,
Could we revisit it?
such as Calander with the swales on the side. I mean, I'm sure DPW can clean them, but there's going to be a point where they probably don't have what they need to really clean them out like they need to be. So
that'd actually be a great thing to get from whoever does the work, sort of what's the maintenance plan for those swales on a go-forward basis, because that would just be throwing money away if we don't actually clear those out on a regular basis.
And I believe that's part of it. I know I've had that conversation with Art of coming up with it. It's kind of like the Petrie, coming up with what we need to do to continue the growth, but to also maintain it.
So maybe then, like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't need to be in this version of our capital plan. I'm almost like imagining, I know at one point on Doreen's old laptop, we had literally built an Excel like that. Okay, here's the year we do the work, and now I forget, I think it was every 5 years we rest it.
Yeah.
Every 5, and then year 5, this is offline. So we were mapping out the fact that we could take one offline every 5 years and be okay with that. But I'm wondering if that, now that we are fixing them up, it would be easier just to kind of build out what does that cycle look like, and say, okay, so the Petrie was offline, was it last year or the year before? So in 2024, it will come offline again, and during that year we will do, we'll drop an extra 10 grand into it or something like that.
And we have to. I mean, that was definitely a promise to your
yeah,
point.
Yeah, but I don't know if we need it for what's due Thursday, because it's most likely not going to be a financial request. Like, the Petrie was the first one we fixed, right?
Why wouldn't it be a financial, like, so I guess.
No, I just mean, sorry, I meant in the next year or two, it wouldn't hit the budget. You know what I mean? And give us a little more time to plan this out and get better numbers that we're more confident in, and then go back even like next spring and be like, here's the field maintenance plan.
I would put a line in. I would not put a line in.
Okay.
And really the discussion just becomes, do you want to put a placeholder value in, or do you want to put a TBD in, and that will come? But I would recommend at least having the line. And maybe you can put an X into the next year or the year after and say it's a, given the work that's been done recently, we don't see any of the fields currently in need of, X, Y, or Z, but that way they have an idea. It's not a year 1 or year 2, but I definitely want to raise awareness of the need.
Okay.
Someone would just call us on it if we didn't. We emphasized that point so strongly when we initially went for the money for the fields.
How do you, Don, how do you picture this being represented? Like, would this be kind of like what facilities does? It's a line item in their budget moving forward of 5 to 10 grand? Or is this a capital expense that, shows up, every whatever cycle we come out with, and they have to vote on it within that?
Yes, the second. So it would almost like you see in the school budget, like they typically have like a 5-year sort of view. Certainly looking at it purely from a total cost of the effort, not trying to figure out how Mark would finance it with his team, but really just, for example, in 2024, we're gonna have to redo the interior field at the Trotter track. I'm making that up. And that field will go down and it's going to cost X, Y, and Z to repair it. And it might cost a little bit more because we have to be sensitive to the track around it. I'm making all that up. But that could be the 2024 one. And then, 2026 could be, and we're going to have to do something at Neary because at that point, the drainage will be so bad that it'll take a complete resod to get it back to, safe conditions. Again, I'm making that up too, but that's kind of the thinking.
Okay.
All right. So we probably always have to take a stab at it kind of at the field level then to get a
It looks like you already have a couple of them covered anyway, because you got the fin, looks like you have a fin field in there.
Yeah, that
you got Trotter track resurfacing, but then at some point you might have there's a field there, and there's the field in the back, which I think is in pretty good shape. But yeah, there's the Neary field. But anyway, I would keep it high level, so that you don't have to specifically state the fields. But just again, knowing what we know, we can't go another 10 years without touching the field. It's just not. Yeah, it's not cost effective.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess my analytical brain wants to go like plot out the fields roughly so we can see like, what would this really come out to, or how many, like, so we don't hit multiple fields in the same year kind of deal. But we could just take a stab at that and then put kind of like I don't know, do we just say it's like, do we say it's an additional 10 grand of investment in a field when it's offline?
Well, could we just ask Art, what typically, I'm sure we could even Google.
I mean,
what
I think we could probably get from him like on DePietri, but we don't necessarily have him like on call like Doreen. Like Doreen just had like an open line to pay him whenever she had questions, right? So that's the only thing. And also to be a little bit respectful of his time. Like, I mean, we could probably look back and see if we have it, but I don't know what you think, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would have the courtesy just because of everything of our conversation to give me a general, like a industry standard.
Okay.
I don't think he would say, okay, let me go look at every single field and the use and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I'm sure he could give me a general, if I present it to him kind of the way we're doing it, of we thinking about a pot of money to potentially throw out a field if we took one offline just to be safe. Is that 5, 10, 20, 30?
Yeah,
I'm sure he would be able to tell me.
Okay. All right. Anything else in here?
I was just curious on the logic. I'm not disagreeing with it necessarily, just more the logic for having the facility study in 2027.
I was doing 10 years later.
Okay. Makes sense.
So that was the only logic.
And then I highlighted the playgrounds just because those are school grounds technically. So I don't know if we want to phrase that as a recommendation or kind of chalk it up to them to see what they want to do. Maybe get it on their radar too if the schools don't.
I could almost pull it out as like a sub, like, this, if it's not in the school budget, it should be, or it should be somewhere captured. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. The other thing you should check on that too, Jen, is just make sure if they're doing one for the school had the Trotter track in their budget for a while as well. So just to make sure there isn't double counting on any of the school property.
Yep.
And they should be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I would just call it out as a footnote. If you put like a cross-reference or a footnote at the bottom, verify, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And along those lines of if this thing has to be able to stand on its own, we probably want to add a footnote as to why we have choate design and no other line items for choate. So people don't go making assumptions that we're trying to pull a fast one.
Oh,
somehow.
gotcha. Yep. I didn't realize I didn't have that there. Okay.
Like, 'cause for that though, I think we should again make it clear to people that right now it's our thinking that that would be a fundraising effort outside of capital. And, you know, then the time will come to see how much we're actually able to fundraise and whether or not we want to bring a request for the gap to like a town meeting. But I just want to make it clear to people that right now we're not assuming we're coming back for the whole kit and caboodle to the town.
Okay. And maybe this is like the facility stays every 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim, in the tent in our notes, I think you said it would cost 15 grand to rent for the summer. Didn't know if you wanted me to put that in that way or if we want to like look into actually buying one or.
So I was looking at a few options today, actually. My concern with what we have, can you see this? What I'm
Yes.
looking at right now?
Yes.
So it looks funky, but these can be put up by 2 people and they're massive.
Oh.
So I'm kind of thinking of more lines. As much as I would love the tent we had, I'm just thinking of something that's more realistic with DPW and then also our staff. So this gets us still a lot of, I think they said like 105 seated people underneath. So still large enough. And then I think 6 to 8 banquet tables if we felt like doing that. But you know me, we can also slap our logo on it and it can look wonderful.
Oh, slap your logo on it. We're gonna get someone to pay us to slap a logo on it. That's
There you go.
wonderful.
There you go. But so there's other options. This is kind of one Katie is who does our ones now. And I know some other departments who have used them for these large ones and have been very happy. So I'm going to request a quote and just see kind of what comes of it. I don't think it would be that 15 grand mark. But it could be something that we could get 2. And next thing you know, we double the space we're over the space what we had this past summer. So I'm looking at alternatives. The idea of the tent that we did have, the thing that is not scaring me, but of concern is storage of it, as well as putting it up every year. It's a professional tent for weddings and whatnot, and it literally survived a hurricane. So it's a heavy duty one. But this would be more realistic, I think, for our use, but also it could travel site to site very easily. It just zips up into like 3 or 4 bags. You can throw it in the back of a truck. So
Yeah, your band can play under it if it rains.
there you go.
So Tim, I was wondering about storage. Where do you think, I have no concept of how big it is when it's folded up or what have you. Where would you be thinking if the question comes up where we would store something like that?
So this one, it's literally in the bags, like if you guys have a canopy tent in your backyard, like it's just a little bigger bags than those. Like this folds up into 4 of those bags. So it's very storable in our storage area and, transportable if senior center needed it, or we want to bring it to summer nights, Heritage Day, things of that nature. So there's advantages to it, at least in this model. I'm sure there's other things we can look up with, different storage pieces, but this presents the literal idea that it could just go in the basement of the art center or wherever we feel like we want to put it.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that. It comes down to, is it a capital ask? Is it something we build into a price and we get it paid for over the course of a summer or 2 or 3. I guess it's where we want that to fall, but it makes sense in my mind to pay for it off of program fees, because that's what it's going to be used for.
Yep.
So
That
build it
makes
in.
sense to me. Okay.
I know I was here, but the 8,500 for the field design seemed low to me. So again, just wanted to revisit that one again.
We got an actual quote for that one.
So that's an actual quote. You want to jump to that real quick, Jim?
Yeah.
I can bring, all right, let me bring that up quick. So I reached out to Activitas, who has done a whole bunch in our area. Been looking for an excuse to work for them personally, because I know what they do. And so the contact there, Megan, I shot her a message and kind of explained what we were looking to do with, kind of a site map of, where we were looking to do it. And she's done what we're looking for, kind of that plan, that schematic of what can fit. She's done it with a bunch of towns, and she did send me one as an example. Let's see. And this would be the final product of what this estimated price point would get you. Okay, here we go. So this is in Situate that she did. Share screen. Safari. Can you see that?
Yep.
So, I guess I'll just jump to the pictures because that's kind of what we were thinking. So they took what was currently there, like we've been saying, and they proposed of what could fit. I don't know if I can jump one to the other on this. I can. So different options based on what they had. I think that was the second one, third one. So kind of like what we were talking about. And correct me if this wasn't what our intent was, but
No,
okay, that's what I thought.
This is totally it. Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
just what's the art of the possible based on what's available to it. We have a preset bias, for our setup, right? We'd want it to be multi-field. We'd want to retain the softball area. So we have a little bit of a baked in sort of consideration there, but otherwise this is sort of exactly what we'd like to see.
Yep. And then within that gets us kind of this whole plan, meetings with us so that she can understand, or the company can understand, if we're not assigned to her, what we're really looking to do. And then just proposals of what exactly they can do, price estimates of what it would be to make that happen for us. So, and then obviously next steps, if we want to go with them, we just, we go through that whole process. But this would get us to where we want to be. I agree, Kristen. I think it was low, but I was happy to see that at the same time. And they're super reputable. They just finished Lexington's complex and it's stunning. So I just based on everything they do, I know they know their stuff. So she was excited to hear from us.
Great.
She was willing. So
I know, Tim, we talked about this last time, so sorry if it's repetitious. The big thing, I think, well, not a big surprise, that we'll get pushback on drainage since the facility was built next door, I think was the concern somebody raised. I honestly can't even remember when, but we'll probably get the same kind of pushback that we can sufficiently drain water.
What do you mean facility built next door? For the golf course?
The safety facility, yeah. The safety,
okay.
public safety building, sorry. There had been some question if I'm trying to remember, because previous to that, I think water logically kind of was filtered. I honestly, I'm speaking about something that's so long ago, I can't recall, but I just remember that there was a question raised about with the new public safety facility going in, do we have somewhere to drain the water, if that makes any sense? So I would just say
Yeah,
whatever.
and I think the concern was is when we were talking about a couple of years ago, before that work was done, there was concern that we go invest in the field and then the public safety building would offset and change the water flow patterns and mess up what we did. So I know that like there was concern that we would touch anything before that was done. But I think now that it's done, like it's established, we know what's happening on our fields. It's easier to come back with a proposal. So,
I think it's that, and I mean that building they built some retention areas right off that driveway. So I think that I haven't seen issues. I mean, yes, it rains and the field gets wet, close it, but we do that everywhere. So I haven't seen like a colander issue.
Yeah.
Coming off of that public safety building, especially with the storms that we've had.
Okay.
If anything, we just have an issue with the softball field, as we always have. But nothing that I think has been caused excessively because of the public safety building. But I'm
Okay.
sure they would look at that. So
Cool. Thank you.
so do we want to pursue this with them?
Yes,
Yes.
this is spot on.
Okay. Do we just want to go on our own schedule on it? Or, I mean, I know we have to go through capital and get their blessing per the new policy, but
so I think we take a vote tonight to move forward with this, and then we can bring it to let capital know and let Board of Selectmen know.
I agree. What was the name of the company again, Tim?
Activitas.
Activitas. Okay. So I make a motion that we ask Tim to proceed moving forward with Activitas and spend the $8,500 required to get a comprehensive field design package done, completed by Activitas.
I second.
All right, and any other questions by anyone? Okay, so roll call vote, Hanson, yes.
Nixon,
Dumont, yes.
O'Day, yes.
Well, yes.
O'Day, yes.
And sorry, Dave, Nixon, did I hear you?
yes, I said yes.
Okay, thanks. Cool,
It's a good find, Tim. Good find.
Thank you.
yeah. All right, I'll have to look into like what I'm supposed to do. Are we now supposed to send a note to capital, or is there any
Yeah.
formal process? Okay.
So just write let's say a note with either, or I can do it, it's up to you, with the vote that was taken, and then per the policy, looking to get on one of their agendas.
Okay. Okay, I'll drop that note. And then I have that quote, right, Tim? You sent that to me. So I can.
Yeah, the email I sent that to you. Yep.
Yeah, I might just forward that quote so they know what we're gonna do.
Do you want me to get a more official one than an email, you think? Think it's
No,
necessary?
because we're
Okay.
yeah. No, I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Anything else on this capital plan for feedback?
I think it looks good. Thanks, Jen.
Okay. I'll keep messing with it a little bit more. Okay.
Do we want to put, I think we talked about it last time. Do we want to put something about, I'm just thinking about our building, you know, a note of pending, remember we talked about like pending what the town was going to do with it. You know, eventually money is going to be needed to be either put in the building or even the playground at the art center, but it's still up in the air of what is actually going to happen with that building. So, you know, probably 4 or 5 years, 6 years, we'll probably look at the playground to be replaced, needed to be replaced. But do we want to build that in without knowing the future of our building. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'd be tempted to just put, again, a footnote or line item versus an artificial number that will inflate the plan. Something's probably gonna get done with that property, it would seem like, just a question matter of what, that the town finds acceptable. So I'd rather not put
Yeah.
undue attention on it.
Has the
I feel
town,
like we,
has
sorry,
the
go
town
ahead.
taken it off the marketplace?
Yes. They rejected all the bids they had. And I believe there's a group that's looking at it for HUD housing, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I could see us putting something in for the playground because, I mean, the current thinking, if it goes towards HUD housing, the playground will still be there, right?
It would just come down to if it's our responsibility for the sale of the lot.
Gotcha. Well, it could be a good number for them to have, right?
Yeah.
But if it stays our responsibility, this is going to continue to be like,
yeah.
because that was put in, man, 2016?
That recent?
Before that, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
It's new.
No. Okay.
Do you know what year, Kristen?
I thought earlier than that, but I'd be venturing a guess. We can probably find it online pretty easily.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true.
Was
And
that a
what
town
playground?
meeting article or anything, or was that us again?
I think that was us at a revolving. Yeah, and what are playgrounds have like a 20-year life?
Ideally,
Okay.
but I hate that playground. So, you know, we want to cut that life short. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to figure out when it was. When it was actually built.
Okay. And the other thing sorry, it's all coming back to me now. And then the other thing we talked about was the ADA plan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were kind of pushing that off onto the selectmen because that was under their purview of getting that going, town admin and selectmen. I don't know if that's going to be a big article for them. They're just going to throw at it or what, but it would affect us.
Yeah. Yep, we can just leave that as a footnote. I have not heard boo about that. Have you, Tim, at all?
No, it kind of dropped off. So I'm not really sure
Yeah.
what's going on with that.
And I've been
Completely
looking.
dropped off.
It's not on anyone's agendas. I've been looking. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody was gung ho once they got the report to get it to fall town meeting, and then I think they pumped the brakes on them. So
yep.
My guess is we may see it in the spring in some fashion.
Okay. Cool. All right. So then anything else on this topic at all? No.
I know we have the van built in there.
Yep.
There's no other costs associated with the van, you know, looking, because when are we looking to get that? I don't have the spread in front of me anymore.
Next year, 2023. Mostly because there's like no vans to buy right
There's
now.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. But all the other expenses associated with that van, like they're less than $5,000 a year, right? So it's going to flow through revolving without needing to be on the capital plan.
Most of everything that we used to have to do, kind of DPW does it for me now. So oil changes, all that stuff, general maintenance, they've taken it. So
awesome. I can't think of anything else then.
Cool. All right. Then I think the last thing we had on our agenda is any updates from you, Kristen, for master plan.
Yes, we met last time after the next day. And at that point, I met, well, a group of us, those working on open space and rec and trails agreed to meet. So we met and reviewed the revised section, what someone had done and gone in, and Judith had combined things and tried to get the formatting somewhat, like she moved around the formatting, and I like in general what she did a lot, and it makes sense, but it did make our section seem like it could be updated a bit to align with how they did their section. So just an example is that they have, I'm trying to think, outlines of, trying to think open space, like various, I think, organizations, perhaps they partner with, I might be characterizing that wrong, in a brief, like line item about that organization, let's say, for lack of a better word. In ours, we have a list of all of those areas we partner with, but it's really just a list. And so we did discuss that maybe a one-liner with a little bit of background of each, or what our engagement is with each might be nice, and it would make it align more to the open space. So that's on my to-do list before our next meeting. So before our next monthly meeting. The timeline was something that we questioned if we're trying to get this for town meeting. And while we didn't exactly land on a yes or no, everybody seemed to be pushing hard to say, let's just get it done. So I think we're in the final stretch, which means, and the reason I was asking about the timeline is that we said, you know, we didn't really include stats before because it would have looked a little funny between the transition to Tim and then with COVID, you know, we couldn't arrive on a stat that would really be meaningful. As now we're entering back out of following a successful summer, and you know, with some RAP registrations getting back up and running, the question is, do we want to offer any stats on, for example, the amount of people who participate in recreation run activities every year? So those are the two main things. So Tim, if it's okay, I'll just work with you offline on that list. It's not a big deal, and I can even take a first crack, and then you can just fix whatever you think doesn't look right. That shouldn't take long. The question on the stats, I'm curious what you guys think, because we're getting back up there with some maybe interesting numbers, but it's hard to provide context as well. Like we could say, you know, X% participate in recreation activities. So one, that number is still going to probably be lower than it would be in a non-COVID year. And two, we don't necessarily have reliable stats to run, you know, to serve as the baseline to show, for example, an increase in recreation participation. So wanted to bring that to you today to see if you can think of any, you know, any metrics help anything. Typically people like to see, some people just want to see the numbers. So the question is, do you guys think there's anything relevant to include as far as statistics go? Like, do we want to put in nice little paragraphs, you know, celebrating our return from COVID this summer and, you know, the impressive turnout?
I think if anything, we can give we can put a general number on offerings of what we're putting out. You know, the numbers of registrations, like you said, is what it is. You know, we got 250 in the door right now, but some programs will be canceled, they'll go down, and so on and so forth. But we can put a comfortable number on how many RAP programs we offer per year, how many camps we offer per year, how many special events, you know, townwide events that attract XYZ. I think that may be the safer play. And it would be, you know, reading it too, it would be impressive. So
I think that's, we're looking for, like, you guys do a lot, and wanting to put some sort of context around that volume wise, I think would be good. So I like that idea.
do they still want a pool?
No, in fact, I made it a point. I made it a point to jokingly point out, because literally the day we met was, I think there had been an article that came out about I think it's the Milford pool.
Yep.
So I did happen to mention that in passing because the article had just come out, but the pool is more of a friendly joke. So
Um,
I'm sorry, just to wrap that up. So that means I just need to make a pass at expanding on some of those bullets, give them to you and Tim maybe to review, or at least let everybody know they're out in the box folder. And all of the docs are out, in a box folder that anyone can access on the town website under their page. So, people can check it out and see the changes that are being made. They're really good about noting that stuff. The minutes are incredibly thorough, so I gotta imagine they're being done professionally. So if you're interested in any of that, otherwise I will just make the updates, make sure Tim approves them, and then work with you, Tim, to get a blurb in about with some metrics around the number of offerings,
Cool.
etc.
That sounds good. Yeah.
all right. So I did have one more thing on the agenda. I just wanted to raise with you guys, I had put on here the commission's role. So looking to see like whether it's chair or vice chair, if people have an interest in taking on roles, and then also looking for more help with like meeting minutes and everything like that from you guys.
Yeah, I'm getting back into the swing of things. I will admit that for a while, work was a little insane, but we are stabilizing with some changes that have been made, which is good, which means I feel like I'm getting back more where I could do more. So Jen, I could talk to you and get your thoughts on what's, what you're thinking. In the back of my head too, it's also like, what is the role of the commission, period, to your point.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should probably just take a fresh look at that. I don't even remember if we did that when Tim came on or not. But it's probably not an idea to do it every.
I think we tried to, but we also wanted to get some help, like honestly, quite frankly, legally understanding, because I think we were a little bit at odds with other folks in town about that. So I think it's something it would be nice, and maybe even some clarity around like the revolving fund and our responsibility versus other groups.
Yeah, I think we got to dust off those conversations. I think COVID happened and all the change in the department. I think we just relaxed a bit on that, understandably so. And I think everybody had personal things going on. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately, especially because, quite frankly, Tim, you've got the department in a different spot, right? So where we may have been needed more before, we're not. And so that just causes you to say, okay, well, what should we be doing that perhaps we're not doing, or could be helping out more, whatever it may be. So, again, Jen, I don't know if we want to continue the dialogue here, obviously. Otherwise, also happy to chat with you offline.
Okay.
Because I'm also thinking about the field. I've been thinking a lot about the turf and everything Dawn and I learned, and thinking, all right, is now the time to kind of start putting our heads together in that one again, because it's not an insignificant task. So, the longer we put it off, we're kicking that can down the road.
Well, I think the study is the next logical step, right? And then we can see what comes out of that. I definitely agree with you. I sat through the parents' sports night at Algonquin, and they've got little blurbs about, they're trying to advance a project over there, but it's just like little breadcrumbs, not a lot of details.
That's interesting.
But I think if we can, once we know what's possible, that will really help sort of solidify, especially with that proposal there. There's some ready materials in there that if it does sort of work out, that's something you can actually walk into somebody and with a professional sort of package and say, look, we got something here. What do you think?
Oh, that's a good point, Don. I don't know if this would be part of the package, Tim, but we always brainstormed ideas of our own of where we could put, we could get people to donate to get their name somewhere. I don't know if it may be a stupid question and fairly obvious, but any ideas that they may put into where we could put signage or what have you to get sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would come down the line. I think we get the general set up, and then from there, I think it would present, we'd be able to see more, 100,000-foot level of where we could place specifics. So,
Fair enough.
and it's like Don said, I think this would give us a path, especially if it gives us numbers. And then we'd be able to kind of see, given the rights, naming rights to this field may check this off, or, bunch of benches may check this off, and scoreboard may check this off, stuff like that. So.
Well, and the other thing that the design will let us do is get in front of the trustees. We talked at one point in time to the headmaster at St. Mark's, who was one of the is it trustees or their board of trustees, I think, yeah. And at the time got just kind of it was, long before your time, Tim, with Doreen, and we went in and met him and talked about some of their plans. We wanted to understand as well what they might have in the works and the plans at the time, and make sure that from a perspective that what he thought, whether or not the board of trustees might have an issue with it. And at the time he said verbally, no, he did not think so. And I think they see it as being just as beneficial for the town to St. Mark's, because that introduces opportunities for them. However, with the design plans, I think one of the next more immediate things we may want to do is to get in front of them to make sure we're not going down a path that they're going to have major objections to.
Mm. Yeah.
But anyways, that's all, we've got that all covered in our plan. Oh, I am going to also, sorry, with the master plan, I'm going to take what you created, Jen, and just make sure it aligns to anything we included in the master plan. Not necessarily going on my way to put it in there, but just to make sure that there's nothing that, time-wise doesn't
Gotcha.
sync up.
Okay, yep, no, that makes sense.
Just a quick going off of what you said, we do have new legal in town now, and they are much faster with turnaround. So if you wanted to start raising those issues, I would say now is the time, just
Yeah.
because they're fresh and ready to go.
We also have a different contract with legal, right? We don't have to pay every time we ask a question. We have an open,
I believe so,
Like-
yeah.
yeah, which is also because before it's every time we had a question, we got charged basically. Versus now we could open like, can we please revisit this and better fully understand it and document it? That's more than just referencing that one, what is it, like state legislation? Yeah, okay. Maybe we can come back to that next time and kind of like put together what our questions are, even to get alignment there to go in and ask. Okay. All right. And then I mean, nobody's jumping at wanting more responsibilities, but I did want to ask, like, if somebody's willing to, or if we want to rotate through taking meeting minutes and stuff like that, or if someone wants to help out with that, because I've done them for the last year.
We definitely can rotate the minutes. I think that's a good idea. Let's happy to do that.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good idea.
cool. Alrighty, so who wants to volunteer for next time?
I'll take the next one.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, and the Google Docs that you guys, I'll send you one that you can edit, because I just literally copy and paste the format over and over. So
Very good.
awesome. So then we do need to set just confirm our next meeting date as well, with everyone. And so I think we were saying, like, we've been saying the second Tuesday of every month. So it'd be October 12th. I have a conflict that week. I'm not here.
Is that Columbus?
It is
Week.
the day after Columbus Day, yeah. You might be a little fried after.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got Heritage Day, so I probably don't want to do it.
Okay. So we could do the week of October 5th or sorry, Tuesday, October 5th, or we do the 19th.
I can do either day.
Yeah, I'm this, is there any reason why we might need one sooner rather than later? Any,
Kim, do you have any idea when special town meeting might be scheduled for? I haven't heard any
I
date.
do. One
do?
second,
Okay.
please. Yep.
My only thought is it could be around there, depending on what they put on that agenda.
November 1st,
Okay.
Monday.
So then most likely the warrant's gotta close around that first week in October.
I'd rather, if people are open to it, have the earlier meeting scheduled as a just in case, type of thing.
Okay.
If there, it doesn't sound like there's a big difference between one week or the other, so I'd feel better with
Okay.
one earlier if there's a special town meeting coming up, and we'll make sure there's no surprises on the warrant.
So it'd be October 5th.
Yeah.
And where people are good with the 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Jim's gonna kill me. Yes, I was instructed to ask Tim about volleyball, which I know you've been working on 8,000 other things, but I promised I would.
I'm gonna throw that to Joe, to be honest with you, once he comes in.
Cool.
So that's been my plan.
Thank you.
He'll be in charge of planning the second session, pretty much. So I'm hoping we can work something in there for RAP and then go from there.
Cool.
I didn't forget about you. Don't worry.
I have a very persistent 12-year-old.
Fine.
All right, then I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:27.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Hanson, yes.
O'Day, yes.
Nixon,
Dumont,
yeah.
yes.
Laval, yes.
All right. See you guys in a couple weeks.
All right.